Imagine entire civilizations, cities, temples, advanced knowledge, all disappearing as if they were erased from history. No final battle, no clear catastrophe, no written civilizations that once thrived and then vanished, leaving behind questions that science still cannot fully answer. In this video, we will explore 3 civilizations that disappeared mysteriously.
You're watching The Unbelievable World.
The Indus Valley Civilization, the Maya Civilization, and the Ancestral Puebloans, also known as the Anasazi. Each of them was advanced. Each of them collapsed. And for each one, the mystery remains. Over 5,000 years ago, along the banks of the Indus River in South Asia, one of the world's earliest and most advanced civilizations emerged. The Indus Valley Civilization stretched across modern-day Pakistan and northwest India. At its peak, it rivaled ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. Its major cities, like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, were astonishingly modern. Grid-based streets, standardized brick sizes, public baths, advanced drainage and sewage systems. This level of urban planning would not appear again in many parts of the world for thousands of years. The people of the Indus Valley were skilled traders. Artifacts from their cities have been found as far as Mesopotamia. They used standardized weights and measures, crafted jewelry from gold and gemstones, and produced finely made tools from bronze. Yet one of their greatest mysteries remains unsolved: their writing system. Hundreds of inscriptions have been discovered, but to this day, no one has successfully deciphered the Indus script. Without readable records, their beliefs, politics, and daily life remain largely unknown. Then, around 1900 BCE, something happened. Cities began to empty. Urban centers were abandoned. The population slowly vanished. There is no evidence of a massive invasion, no signs of widespread violence, no dramatic layer of destruction. Scientists have proposed several theories: climate change causing rivers to dry up, massive flooding altering the landscape, earthquakes disrupting water systems, gradual economic collapse. But no single explanation fully fits the evidence. One of the most advanced civilizations of the ancient world simply faded away. The Maya Civilization. Deep in the jungles of Mesoamerica, the Maya civilization flourished for over 3,000 years. They built towering pyramids, developed a complex writing system, and created one of the most accurate calendars in human history. The Maya understood astronomy with incredible precision. They tracked solar cycles, eclipses, and planetary movements, all without telescopes. Their cities, like Tikal, Copan, and Palenque, were cultural and scientific centers. Maya society was highly structured. Kings ruled city-states. Priests interpreted the will of the gods. Artists carved detailed stone monuments recording historical events. Every building, ritual, and calendar date was tied to religion and cosmology. At their peak, Maya cities were densely populated and highly organized. They were not primitive jungle tribes. They were an advanced civilization.
And yet, the Maya managed to create remarkable solutions for survival. They relied on intensive agriculture, especially the cultivation of maize, beans, and cacao. They built agricultural terraces, rainwater reservoirs, and complex canal systems to control water distribution. These solutions were ingenious, but at the same time, they made the civilization extremely sensitive to environmental change. The system worked efficiently as long as balance between humans and nature was maintained. But even a small disruption was enough to trigger a chain of crises. Modern studies suggest that some Maya cities reached very high population densities. Forests were cleared to expand farmland, and over time, the soil became exhausted. As resources declined, cities came to depend almost entirely on the regularity of seasonal rainfall. And here lies the cruel paradox. A civilization that understood the movement of the stars with astonishing precision, yet remained bound to the cycles of nature on Earth. The collapse of the Maya was not the result of a single mistake. It was the outcome of accumulating environmental, economic, and social pressures, lasting for years, perhaps generations. This is what makes their story both painful and unsettling, because it reminds us that scientific progress does not always guarantee survival, and that even the greatest civilizations may fall not because of an external enemy, but because of the limits of the environment they depend on. And at this very point, we begin to approach the moment of collapse.
Then, between the 8th and 10th centuries AD, the unthinkable happened. Major Maya cities were abandoned. Stone monuments stopped being carved. Population numbers dropped dramatically. No single disaster explains the collapse. Possible causes include severe droughts lasting decades, overpopulation and deforestation, internal warfare between city-states, political instability. What makes the Maya collapse especially disturbing is this: the people didn't disappear overnight. They slowly left their cities behind. The jungle reclaimed their temples, and centuries passed before the world rediscovered them. The Ancestral Puebloans. In the deserts and canyons of the American Southwest, the Ancestral Puebloans built incredible stone structures. Cliff dwellings, multi-story complexes, entire villages carved into rock faces. Places like Mesa Verde and Chaco Canyon show extraordinary architectural skill, built without metal tools or draft animals.
What makes these cities even more astonishing is not only where they were built, but how. Massive stone blocks were shaped by hand, carried across difficult terrain, and stacked with precision that allowed buildings to stand for centuries. Some dwellings were constructed hundreds of feet above the canyon floor, accessible only by narrow paths or wooden ladders. These were not temporary shelters. They were permanent homes, carefully designed for community life, defense, and survival. Inside these stone walls, families cooked, slept, stored food, and carried out daily rituals. The cities were alive, echoing with movement, conversation, and ceremony.
The Ancestral Puebloans mastered survival in harsh conditions. They developed sophisticated farming techniques, water collection systems, long-distance road networks. Their buildings were aligned with solar and lunar cycles, suggesting deep astronomical knowledge. This was not a simple society. It was carefully planned and scientifically aware.
Rain in the southwest was scarce and unpredictable. Yet the ancestral Puebloans adapted with remarkable ingenuity. They captured rainwater from cliffs, channeled it into reservoirs, and redirected it toward fields of corn, beans, and squash. Their road systems stretched for miles, wide, straight paths cutting across deserts and mesas. Some led to distant settlements. Others appeared to serve ceremonial or astronomical purposes. At places like Chaco Canyon, buildings were aligned so precisely that sunlight would strike specific walls and doorways on solstices and equinoxes. Time itself was built into stone. This was a civilization deeply aware of the rhythms of the sky and the limits of the land. By the late 1200s, their great settlements were abandoned. No mass graves, no clear signs of invasion, no written records explaining why they left. Theories include prolonged drought, resource depletion, social conflict, gradual migration. But once again, there is no definitive answer. They left behind stone cities and silence. What makes their disappearance so unsettling is its quiet nature. There was no final battle, no sudden catastrophe frozen in time. Families packed their belongings, ceremonial objects were taken, sacred places were left untouched, and slowly the cities emptied. Archaeological evidence suggests this was not a collapse overnight, but a difficult decision repeated across generations, a recognition that the land could no longer sustain the life they had built.
Their descendants did not vanish. Many modern Pueblo peoples trace their ancestry back to these cities of stone. The knowledge survived, even if the cities did not. The walls remain, the doorways still face the sun, and the canyons keep their secrets. Another civilization, advanced, adaptive, and resilient, that walked away from its greatest achievements and disappeared into history.
3 civilizations, 3 disappearances, and countless unanswered questions. Were these collapses warnings, lessons about climate, resources, or power, or simply chapters of history we may never fully understand? One thing is certain: human civilization is more fragile than it appears. If entire advanced societies could vanish without explanation, what does that say about us? Let me know in the comments, which civilization's disappearance do you find most mysterious? And if you want more deep, unsettling facts about our universe and our past, subscribe for the next video.
Thank you for watching The Unbelievable World. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and support the channel, because what's coming next is always more unbelievable.